All right, it's your man Brett from the Skateboarding Show. What's the date? It's like the 13th of September, isn't it?
Yep.
Because I mentioned that because it was this time. Well, it was when I got back from this session last week that I first heard about the demise of Sidewalk magazine. What Eve done be wearing there. So I thought I'd speak to these two and ask them their opinion about your experiences and memories of Sidewalk and your opinion about it ending. But first of all, can I have your name and age, please?
Forrest, very old.
Forrest is your name?
Yeah, I'm Forrest and I'm very old.
Okay, that will do.
It's true.
Joe, 20.
Joe, you've been on the show numerous times, haven't you?
I think so, yeah.
No, I mean, having pre-talked to you, can we just hear Joe's story quickly? Because I think, and then some of your experience and your thoughts would be really helpful. So, Joe, tell us about.
I used to subscribe to Ride UK, which was BMX. I used to BMX, but then when I was about 14 or 15, I found Sidewalk in WH Smith service station, in Reading service station. I remember the one, and begged my dad to get it, and that's what got me into skateboarding. And saw Ben Grove, and I still have the poster of Ben Grove in my room.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that was one of the influential things that got you.
Yeah,
into
I saw the
skateboarding
front cover and I was like, it's fucking sick. And like, because I already been into BMX a bit, but my brother skated, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And then I read the magazine and I was hooked, really. But yeah,
cool.
But I think it's a shame it's gone. I think, like you said, like Reed's kind of like text is kind of dead now, so it's kind of on its way out anyway. In my opinion, I think it's a real shame.
I don't know whether reading text is dead or not. I don't know. I'm just asking those questions. Yeah,
I think it is, because Ride UK's gone. Dig BMX is another BMX brand. Sidewalk. I mean, the only skate magazine I still get is Solo magazine, and that's because it's sponsored by. You have like, it's just adverts really of South brands from like America. You know, like all kind of big skate brands, which are. That's why they're still afloat, really.
Well, I mean, my basic understanding as it stands at the moment is a couple of days ago there was an article that got shared about which said outright that Factory Media, the organisation that ran Sidewalk and Dig and all the other magazines, some of the others that you mentioned, the whole publishing company has got a bunch of accountants in because they're filing for liquidation. So that's my basic understanding at the moment, and what everyone seems to be sharing about and saying. So Nigel, Forrest, sorry, I just gave away your real name there. Sorry, I know you're trying to use a pseudonym, but Forrest, tell us a little bit about some of your experience and your views on this.
Being very old.
Very old.
I remember when we had BMX Action magazine a million years ago. It turned into Rads. This is what, early 80s?
Yeah.
Riding BMX. Then mid-80s, you had the GT teams, the Skyways, and it all started getting street skating. Some of the Brits, Craig Cameron and stuff, just ruling the world. And then it turned into Rad magazine, Dayglow, everything, which slowly morphed into a skateboard magazine.
Skateboard only, because in those early days it was a mixture
both.
of skateboarding and BMX.
Yeah, and
you
even
probably
had
didn't know that,
the first issue of Snowboard UK came as a free insert in Rad magazine.
Right, okay.
So that's somewhere at home as well. Yeah, still got them all at home, collect magazines. They're there safely in plastic bags because they're precious.
Yeah, right.
And it turned to Rad, which slowly the BMXing disappeared. The skateboarding came in sort of 87, 88-ish. Then we had Skateboard UK, which I think came out of Bristol.
Yeah,
which was
probably.
a bit of a rival magazine at the time, which took a more humorous approach to the whole skate scene, which was absolutely brilliant. And then that one sort of disappeared as well. And then Sidewalk, I just remember seeing it in, it's probably WH Smith as well, somewhere a million years ago. And yeah, just started reading it, read it for absolute years, subscription t-shirts, freebies. And I stopped about 5-6 years ago, I think. I just found, being so old, I didn't relate to the articles and stuff that they were publishing at the time. It's obviously skate culture, 18-year-old teenagers, me in my 40s, just. I just didn't relate to it. But I still would check stuff on the internet, just catch up with websites, see what's going on, and use it that way. So, but yeah, it just seems that print slowly just disappeared. The BMX magazines have gone, snowboard magazines are disappearing, skate magazines, I think most of them.
I mean, as we know, the print version of Sidewalk went out. I mean, I don't know, what were we saying, like a couple of years ago, maybe, at least about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be about 5 or 6
But they were
years
still
ago.
releasing articles on the website.
Yeah.
And they were still creating a sort of online magazine, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember sort of through Facebook that you'd still subscribe to Sidewalk on there, and you'd get sort of like your message coming up, new content released.
Yeah.
And that sort of dwindled as well, and it disappeared until it just sort of slipped your mind it was even there.
I mean, we all have fond memories of Sidewalk, and we're all really bummed that it's gone. But it does raise some questions, and those questions are, what's happened to British media then? What is it that brought this about? And especially for me, when I hear that the whole of factory, you know, it's not just that they had to shut down Sidewalk, it's that if what I've read is true, if the whole of factory media has had to go into liquidation, then what's happening to media in general in the action sports, for want of a better term? You know, because you know, it happening to skateboarding might be one thing, but if it's happened to BMX and snowboarding and everything else, I don't know. I'm just asking that question. What the hell is going on? Because that is pretty bizarre.
I think one of the joys of being a teacher is the fact you see what kids actually do in their spare time.
Right.
And they talk about it, and it's that instant access.
Right.
That a lot of it is sort of YouTube clip, play, done, watched. And yeah, just flick.
Well, it's just oversaturated. So that's what I said to you was, I can see why it's not. I can see why it's not. I'm interested because you're a teacher. I'm interested what your view is, but like for me, like I really enjoyed seeing like a full feature. Like when Pretty Sweet came out, I thought that was sick. Just seeing any even like a 4-minute part, to me, I still find that more interesting. But I think people who, like you say, want to click on a YouTube video and quickly, I think it's Instagram, and I'm definitely being hypocritical because I still watch those videos, but I think that's why it's oversaturated, because people want to see 10 seconds, right, they just trade flipped Del Toro, right, everyone knows that's the best part of whatever's going on, and then I think that's why people want to just, I feel like, and mine included, attention spans probably not. People are throwing away clips for a massive part because they can get the recognition quicker and maybe do better from that than sit on it and then someone else does the trick or does it, you know. But I think it's just oversaturated, and I think people want shorter space and flick, and then I think Instagram's a huge part of it. I mean, all my skate content I watch is on Instagram,
right? And
then I listen to like podcasts like the 9 Club, and then I'll watch a part from that, you know. But I think it was inevitable, to be perfectly honest, which is a shame.
It is a real shame, and
you just got to go with it.
I mean, I don't know whether it's arrogance or whether it's reality, because obviously over the last week I've been wondering myself, am I part of the problem or part of the solution, you know? Because I'm just as equally guilty. I'm producing these videos which are on YouTube. Nobody's sort of vetting these. Like the one thing that Ben always said, and people have always said about magazines, is by having an editor, you've got somebody who's vetting it, somebody who's saying yes to this, no to that, yes to this, you know. And so all these, you know, I amongst many others are self-publishing, are part of this self-publication group of people that are utilizing YouTube and Instagram and all this other stuff that you talk about. Yeah, and I don't know what to make of it all. I have no idea what to make of it all at all.
I think you're like a better platform though, like, because you're asking these questions, which I don't think that many people are raising as much.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you, I think. I don't know.
I don't know whether it's like it used to be before we had magazines. There was that underground of sort of zines and things, which I've seen a few that seem to be surfacing again. So whether we're having that dive that we had
back
before,
into the underground,
back into the underground a little bit.
Because actually, you're kind of right. The zines were almost like the YouTube of their days, because they were just made by people going, listen, this is what's going on in our local scene. If you want to know about it, here it is.
Yeah, because you used to go to sort of different parks and comps and everything, just watch everyone skating, and someone would be there with some tatty piece of paper, Xeroxed.
Yeah.
And it's like, 50p.
Yeah.
You'd read it, and you'd be interviews with skaters that later would be those skaters that were in Sidewalk and all the magazines. And sort of up and coming. So there do seem to be a few zines that are kicking around again at the moment. So whether it is taking a bit of a dive.
I think that what you said about zines, because I've never really experienced that. But I think I'm into photography, and I prefer film photography because it's tactile, and you can hold it. And I think holding a magazine and looking for it, and then, you know, keeping hold of it, and like you said, you've got loads of magazines. I've got like a whole in my room. I've got like sorted as well, and I think that tactile thing is really cool. But I think it's a real shame. But yeah, I think that's really cool how you had zines. Like I wish we had that now. To be honest, I think that'd be sick. And it's a bit more like a little secret club in a way, like that underground, because anyone can stumble upon it. You know, if you like the wrong thing, you end up watching like loads of skate videos or just by chance. But then that's more of a wider audience to get into skateboarding, because there's so much of skateboarding out around, and arguably you want more skateboarding from more skate parks, more skaters, better people to skate, but it's not as much your thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
there's a weird load of double-edged swords about it all.
There's no right way. But it's a shame. I don't know. I think it'd be cool if you had like a small independent magazine. I would like if it was a Bristol independent magazine. I think that'd be sick. Or even a skate shop doing their own thing. I think that would be so much cool for like a community of skaters. But I don't know. I don't think print's gonna last. Like I don't think it would ever do this long. Like you know, I don't think I'll be reading a newspaper when I'm 40 plus, 50 plus. I think like.
You notice you said 50 plus looking at me. Go on, yeah.
No, but like I think everyone's going to get digitalized. But I think like how you had zines and like you met people with zines, I think that's so sick. I wish I had that. I hope I have that.
Well, like Forrest said, there seems to be a bit of a resurgence in zines coming up. I've got a mic. Don't worry, I always make sure I'm mic'd up. Okay, so let's start. I mean, we could talk about this all night, but we still got a bit of the sesh to do. So
absolutely,
I guess we should kind of wrap this up. And I mean, I think we're all agreed that the demise of Sidewalk is a real shame, because it was a really. I mean, that's one of the things that we're definitely going to be missing now, is a central hub to go to. Like I always used it as if I wanted to know what events were going on.
Yeah.
I knew that Sidewalk would have been sent the poster, and they'd have it up, and they'd put it up, and they were always super supportive about anything to do with skateboarding. They weren't like super snobby and selective in any way. They were always like, if something to do with skateboarding, we're cool, we'll support it, we'll put it up. And I was always really grateful for it, because they supported me, you know, they'd link through to my stuff, and I was stoked about that. And that,
well, that's it.
So thanks, I genuinely appreciate that. It was, you know, I'm hyped. I was honoured
already.
Yeah.
Well, it was the fact that they did cover everything. I can remember when we had sort of the independent British DVDs that came out. Was it So What?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, when they came out, and there was the freestyle element that came back into it. I can't remember the guy who was doing it, but he was amazing. But they covered the freestyle element, which was so unfashionable.
Yeah.
But it was still in there. And it was Vert was even still covered when that was dead and buried.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's shame.
Anything more to say, Joe?
Well, I don't think I can comment as much, because you guys had Sidewalk for a lot longer. And I think when I became fully obsessed with skating, I wasn't as I didn't read Sidewalk
as geeky,
and I wish I had it for long.
Print.
But I spent hours on Sidewalk website and watching all their content. But I think, you know, because I'm in like a digital age, like I've grown up with it. I think people in my age are more accustomed, which is their main audience. Yeah. They're more accustomed to it. But I don't know. I think in a way you can argue though, like Thrasher, I don't know how many million subscribers it has. You think how many people it reaches compared to a smaller magazine. Like I don't know, it's two-edged sword, like I said. But I'm thankful for it, because it got me into skateboarding. So, but I can't give that good opinion. It's just my opinion.
It doesn't matter. Your opinion is valid no matter what.
But yeah, it's a real shame, definitely.
Well, this has been another skateboarding show with real skateboarders, giving some real opinions about a real skateboard mag, which unfortunately is no longer with us. And we miss you, and all the guys who, because you know, there's also a human element to this, which is that some really good people that I know, some of which I know a little bit well, you know, walked into their office Wednesday morning, or picked up a phone on Wednesday morning and heard simply, you ain't got a job anymore, and that's lame. That's really lame. And so for everyone who worked and had anything to do with Sidewalk, I mean, it's definitely for me, and I'm guessing you guys probably feel the same, you know, like, big love to you, big hopes for the future, whatever it is you choose to do. Thank you for everything you and Sidewalk did for us, for skateboarding in the UK and the skateboarding scene. and we love you, and thank you. Just thank you.
Support your local skate shop as well, because you don't want that to happen as well.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the whole deal, isn't it? Yeah, we're not using it, so we're losing it. Right, say goodbye, everyone.
Peace. Laters.